Does Echo stop the downward spiral of the MCU? This is Exasperated Nerd Explains. Let's start out with positives. I thought most of the action scenes up until the last one were pretty fun. I know there was a video being highly critical of scenes from the trailer, making its way around online, but I thought the fights were overall interesting and entertaining, harkening back to the Netflix series. Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is great. He embodies the character, and even though some of what he was given in Echo was lackluster, he made the most of it. The brief Daredevil appearance was fun. The side characters, I think, mostly work for what they are. I don't understand the family tree of Echo, like, where are Bonnie's parents? Who is Biscuit's parents? Is this guy actually an uncle? But they work as charming little side characters with their own little arcs. Unfortunately, the Echo part of the show does not really work, both in character, acting, and the power set. I don't usually talk about acting in videos. It's not something I usually focus on, but I feel like I should mention it here. Echo as acted is terrible. And it could be the actress, it could be the director, or it could be influenced by a terrible script, and getting anything good out of that is like trying to get water out of a stone. Regardless of the blame, you could replace the character with a cardboard cutout or mannequin in a lot of scenes and be no worse off. There are scenes where there's just such a lack of anything going on in her face that I'm not certain what she is thinking, which is pretty important at points in this series. It's not conveying anything to the audience. Kingpin comes in and offers her to essentially be his successor, which is apparently what she wanted, to be head of a criminal organization, and I have no idea where she stands when I look at her afterwards. I don't know if she's even conflicted about it. I have no idea. I don't get anything from her, so I'm lost all around. And there's a fun scene where she fights off people with a motorized bearing launching crossbow she cobbles together quickly like it's a Dead Rising crafting option. Only thing is, how? We haven't seen any engineering aptitude out of her until now. She doesn't fight with or make gadgets otherwise at all. So where did this come from? I have a guess. This show was apparently unwatchable and originally 8 episodes before being cut and reshot, bringing it down to 5. Her grandfather is mechanically inclined and I believe would be able to cobble together something like this. He builds her a temporary and then permanent replacement for her prosthetic leg. After all, I am guessing this scene was in the script or show originally, with him creating the crossbow and shooting people with it. And they liked it so much they had Echo do it instead when it wound up cut from his character arc. The character is also just not interesting. I'm not certain why she wants to lead a criminal enterprise other than it's time. And she really likes killing, I guess. I know it's supposed to be character growth for her to realize she cares about her family and shouldn't kill people, but she still did not choose this on its own over her desire to rule. Not really. They were kidnapped because she said no to Kingpin's offer and left town. I don't know what she was doing or what her plan was or where she was going. Was she going to make her own criminal empire? Did she decide not to pursue crime at all? Again, not clear. She's so much of a loner that she doesn't explain anything to anyone, including the audience. She needed at least one person to confide in and talk to. She does to her uncle a little bit, but more about the initial situation and not actually what she is thinking. He asks her a question and it just goes unanswered. Keeping this information from the audience does not make her mysterious or cool if we don't know why she is doing it. In the comics, Maya Lopez has the name Echo because she can see people's moves or movements and recreate them like an echo. This is the second power set we've seen like this in the MCU. The other was Taskmaster, and both times they can't simply adopt it as is and put a weird spin on it. Here, they weirdly decide that her powers are inherited from her ancestors, echoing across the generations of Choctaw women, which seemingly appear randomly and with random abilities. And I want to say something. So the opening of the show is, I assume, the origin myth for the Choctaw people. There are maybe gods in a cave that collapses and they teleport to the surface of the earth and become human. I have not looked that up. That's just what I get from the show. It's a little odd, to say the least, to have your show say Native Americans aren't human. I mean, it's their myth, if that's what it is and you want to show that, okay, but it still was weird. 2, that opening was so out of place, I literally paused to make sure I was watching the right show, because I was told this is a return back to the street level heroics, like the Netflix shows. Nope. And let's go over these powers. The first is super strength, which was demonstrated by the first Choctaw as she held up the collapsing cave briefly. Of course, given it's the first thing you see in the series, and I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. I didn't understand that was super strength until much later. I assumed it was just her normal strength or something. So they said these powers manifest at times of great need, which is a bit odd if you look at the other parts of the show. The second power is maybe agility or jumping. It's not entirely clear. Maybe it's super strength again of some kind? And this was when one of her ancestors was playing a highlight type game and the losing team was apparently banished, something that warranted being granted magical powers. The third time was after the Choctaw were relegated to only occupying land in Oklahoma. I guess they had no dire circumstances in between. Anyways, so this power was super accuracy with a rifle, but this one was weird because as far as we are shown, the power only manifests when your palms are glowing, but she was super accurate already. It shows her training with her father and she's completely deadly accurate. So when her palms glow, when she helps her father later out, when he is bounty hunting, there's not really any difference other than she just stands there out of cover. The fourth time we see is Echo's mother, who had healing abilities, and unlike the others, she could apparently do this at any time, on command, except for herself, I guess. Oh dear. So for Echo herself, she doesn't actually manifest any power of her own or add to this in any way. She just uses these 4 powers at various points. The only thing I can think of is that her power is to echo the powers of past Choctaw women who had powers. I just thought of this, I'm not really sure. The advantage of this for Disney is that in future appearances, they can just make up any power and say, oh yeah, her ancestor used this in the past. It is odd that the power did not manifest for her when her mom died or her dad died, for instance. But no, I guess those were not important enough. Escaping a train where you planted a bomb to murder a bunch of people, worth getting powers. Saving your parents, not for you. Also, maybe her power is also projecting these powers to others, because in the climactic fight scene, her grandmother and cousin both are able to use the strength powers after she manifests them, which looked really dumb. It was already not great with the weird power thing, but the grandma throwing a guy into the ceiling was just bad. And also, Echo's dead mother maybe metaphorically or maybe physically healed Echo's heart before the final fight, which I guess absolves her of all the murder? I don't know. Did that actually happen or did she imagine it? Is it a metaphor? That wasn't really strategy. That was the opposite of cunning. That's strength, not ferocity. Anyways, during the fight, she uses this healing touch on the Kingpin and heals his heart and mind. She enters his memory as a child when his mom is being beaten and comforts him. Easy for you to say. It is very strange.
What did you do?
Good question. One I had because after this, Kingpin just leaves, takes all his men, and leaves her family alone. But it's not like he's a good guy now. The post-credit scene sets up his appearance in Daredevil, where he is going to run for mayor of New York. So really, I want to know, what did she do? This show was not very good. It was not unwatchable or terrible. It is certainly not the worst MCU product in the last year, but as a chance to regain some goodwill among the fans by having a solid series, it misses the mark. But what did you think of the show? Do you think the MCU will recover, or do you think its days are numbered? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content, like the video, and share it with others. Thanks for watching. Bye.